In the last couple of weeks, I've been having feelings come up again and impulses that remind me of COVID times. I've been hoarding dried beans again. I've been cleaning out cupboards and scrubbing surfaces and crafting. Is this true for anybody else? I see some hands. Okay, great. It took me a while to sort out what was going on, and I realized what I'm responding to is uncertainty. Big transitions can be anxiety-producing for many people, me included. And times of political transition are, of course, times of change. And our next president has promised a number of changes to policy, law, and government practice. We don't know what'll happen, and we can't know. We can't know what the responses of our government and our fellow citizens will be to whatever change comes. And so, on this Martin Luther King Sunday, let's explore some of the challenges before us as people and how we manage uncertainty. It is sobering each year to listen to Reverend Dr. King's words and realize how much money and power remain impediments to justice and equity. It's a reminder that structures don't change without pressure. His oratory, writing, and life's example are still relevant today and inspiring and could have been written yesterday. Dr. King's words remain as important truths and challenges. As you may remember, in the last year of his life, Dr. King was speaking more about the need for systemic change in our society and government in terms of values and a moral stance. Beyond voting rights and access to resources, King was speaking to, in his words, a radical redistribution of political and economic power. Almost 60 years ago, Dr. King shared his frustration at how those who have been helped by the government through access to loans, education, and subsidies then turn to the average folks of the country and suggest that they should succeed without these same privileges and assistance. In our shared values as Unitarian Universalists, in living into the value of equity, we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. One way that those who have power hold on to it is by telling the story that we are not connected, that people who are different than ourselves or have different experiences are not fully human, not human beings who love and are loved. Some leaders act as though human rights are not for everyone. And that is how advocating for something as basic as inherent worth and dignity remains radical. We are called to figure out how we will live into this ideal and to fight for those whose humanity is ignored, so that if those with power don't treat others with inherent worth and dignity, we change systems so they have to. I want to live into a world that has bigger goals than don't dehumanize people, but collectively, we are still working on that first step. The 19th century Unitarian minister Theodore Parker preached regularly against the fugitive slave law, saying in so many words, he would be following that law over his dead body. Parker outlined his understanding of how we know what is just, moral, and right, suggesting that there are unalienable rights and truths in the universe that will continue to be true, no matter what human choices are made. This is similar to his belief in the nature of religion and God that he described in his sermon, The Transient and the Permanent in Christianity. And I know I talk about Parker all the time, but I do because he's essential to my own theology and to our Unitarian Universalist history. The crux of the Transient and the Permanent sermon is that no matter what institutions we create around God, there are truths that are enduring. This led to Parker and then King's famous quote about the arc of the moral universe being long and bending toward justice. Regarding the distilled truths about humanity, Parker wrote, "There are some things which are true, independent of all human opinions. Such things we call facts. Thus, it is true that 1 and 1 are equal to 2, that the earth moves around the sun, that all people have certain natural unalienable rights, rights which a person can alienate only for themselves and not for another. No human made these things true. No one can make them false. If all the people in the world were to pass a unanimous vote that 1 and 1 were not equal to 2, that the earth did not move around the sun, that all people had not natural and inalienable rights, the opinion would not alter the fact, nor make the truth false and the falsehood true. So there are likewise some things which are right, independent of all human opinions." Like Parker, modern Unitarian Universalists still believe that there is a truth in the universe, outside of any obligation or law, that all people have inherent worth and dignity. We believe that there are certain truths and ways to understand justice that transcend any one particular description of theological belief, of the nature of humanity or deity. As human beings, we're constantly struggling with our own personal and collective egos and greed and apathy against the pressure to dehumanize others as a way to get ahead or to win. Living with openness and compassion for others can help lead to a world with greater capacity for all creatures to live with dignity. The moral challenges we have before us as a nation and world are bigger than any person or party or policy or country. We are faced with structural racism, misogyny, violence, homophobia, and more. Our society has always wrestled with these issues, with those in power interpreting who has access to what and who is served by the government with different answers over time, and most often serving those who already have power. Layered on top of that, as a society, we have yet to truly grapple with the impacts of the experience of COVID on long-term unknowns, isolation, economic stress, and the overall stress on all of us, and particularly our children. As a society, we are more isolated, more easily moved to indifference at the suffering of others, and struggling to be in community with one another. So while part of our call to action today is to go big and to work on structural change, another part is to think very small. We need to pace ourselves, get enough sleep, drink water, nourish our bodies, get outside, laugh, spend time with people we love, and smell some roses. We can't do big stuff if we're falling apart. If we're not living into our values and experience of equity, and to do our best to help ourselves and others flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We don't know what's going to happen next in our country and world, and nobody does. But we can challenge ourselves to live into our values, to act with compassion, and to work toward transformation. We can hold our leaders accountable to their elected and appointed roles and responsibilities. Dr. King ended the speech we heard earlier with these words: "On some positions, it is necessary for the moral individual to take a stand that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must do it because it is right. And we say to our nation tonight, we say to our government, we even say to our FBI, we will not be harassed, we will not make a butchery of our conscience, we will not be intimidated, and we will be heard." May we find a way forward. Take care of yourselves. What are you going to do? You're going to drink water. You're going to go outside. You're going to have coffee with a friend, okay? Because there is a lot of unknown. And I am grateful for all of you. We're going to figure it out. And we need each other. That isolation is real. You all in the room and on Zoom, you have made a choice to be with people. And that, no matter, take out politics, take out everything, just being human together is so important. And I think that we have all of these pressures on ourselves to not enable that, right? To take that away, to isolate people. And that is what can make so much pain and heartache, and it makes it easier for bad things to happen without us knowing, right? So we're going to spend time with each other and with other people outside of this room and outside of where you are at home. And we're going to do what? Drink water. Eat food that doesn't come from a package, maybe. Have a vegetable. We're going to go outside. Maybe smile at a stranger. We're going to do all of those things, okay? And we're going to try and build a world with inherent worth and dignity, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity in every person. So may it be, and amen.